Beautiful for the live because we're on. So welcome everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's somewhere it's afternoon, somewhere it's just beginning of the lunchtime. Wherever you are, welcome. This is our break, creative break in the day. Welcome to the series From a Brilliant Idea to Actualized Reality, with absolutely gorgeous, powerful, potent beings who don't just sit and wait, they create. So 1, 2, 3, action today with Mehlika Tanriverdi. Hi, Mehlika.
Hi, Selena. Thank you for having me.
Oh, I could not have you. And the idea would be, if you look behind Mehlika, you will see a very gorgeous background. And that's not a poster, and that's not something that you can order online in bulk. That's a unique piece Mehlika is making herself. And that's actually one of the reasons why I invited her to talk to us about Don't Wait, Create, Bitch. So let me just remind people about how many of us have ideas, loads of ideas, and we would like to have them actualized and make, like projects. And we dream big, like daydreaming, which is nothing wrong about that. No. I'm not going there. I'm not going into judgment. It's just that some of us lack a few, maybe information or maybe inspiration, or maybe it's an exercise. I don't know. This is what I would like to discover with you on how to actualize them. What would be the steps? Well, because it's very nice to have all these energies, but at some point something has to move. So Mehlika, let me ask you, I'm not going to ask you who are you. You're going to tell us what you would like to tell us about yourself. But I would like to ask you, how does such a beautiful piece that I can see behind you start? And how did it become a business? Because I know this is a business by now.
Yeah, it is. Thank you. So, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Mehlika Tanriverdi. I am, as Selena said, an artist, a facilitator for the Access tools, and I'll just go into start waiting, bitch energy, since I know we've got like limited time, and I would love to give you as much as I can. Since we've got the Blue Monday, as Selena just told me, it's like the most depressive, like the third Monday you said in the beginning of the year. It's like where most of the people are depressed because they had intentions to change everything, to realize or actualize ideas, and they didn't, or there is no money to create more because like the third Monday in the year. Thank you so much for that one. I was like, I get that.
That's also the thing when, as you said it's the enthusiasm of all those good wishes in the beginning of the year. I'm going to do things differently. They kind of wear off, where there's no Christmas tree in the living room, but there's all these unknown in front of us. And oh God, how am I supposed to deal with that and actualize my dreams? So
the information I have on that I got at one point, like 12 years ago, was that if you have dreams and you want to fulfill them, you have to write them down.
Okay.
You have to write them down, and you have to re-watch them. You have to look at them. And that's something I played with. And I actually took that, like 1% of the people, it's just 1%. It's like 83% who don't even know what they desire. They don't have dreams. They just live. They just do whatever comes. Other people make decisions and they just go with it. Then there's 16% who think about wishes, but don't really write them down. But there is this 1% of the population that writes them down and looks back at them, that goes through them again and again and again. And that's the ones who are highly the achievers of their wishes and their dreams.
Wait. 2 questions. Where do you get these numbers from, to start with? And secondly, do you look back at those wishes to see what you haven't done, or is it exactly to acknowledge how far you have reached, and if those wishes are still valid or available, or something that you still want to are they still a choice, or are they decisions you're stuck with?
So what? It's like what
I know.
like it's really funny because I'm like, wait. It shouldn't be used as, okay, I didn't do this. It's rather like what I learned from Access then, or when I added the Access tools to this. It's rather like my boyfriend always makes fun of me because I make loads of lists, right? I do write down lists, and then I will just take a bunch of books, put it on top of the list, and then I'll be searching for the list for ages. And then when I look back, like when I find it one day, a year later, I'm like, I've done all this with total ease.
Wow.
And it's not, or there's points I didn't do, but then it wasn't the time for it. And that's something I would love to suggest to everybody watching this video. Take a book, take one, like whatever, and make it my creation. Exactly. And just do it like my magical creations. And then put down your ideas. Put down on each page, put down the idea you really would love to create, you would love to generate, you would love to bring into the world. So for me, sometimes it's like exhibitions I want to have, or classes I want to give, or classes I want to take. And I will just write them down on the top of the page and then leave the page. And then every time an idea pops, I'll just write it down. So which steps does it need to create this? So to make a painting, it's not like, boom, the painting is there. It's rather like, okay, I have this idea for an exhibition, and it's like, it will just come to me. And that's something that I realized really got easier and easier the more I use the AccessConsciousness tools. The more I ask questions, the more I pull energy. And energy pulling is an exercise we do with Access, and in Access, or as facilitators for Access tools, and I love that. And I've been doing that for since I started. It was the one thing I started with. Yeah, that's like Gary created the whole huge thingy, like global movement.
So wait. You said energy pools. Okay, is this more of a doing, or is this more of a being? Because it's a
being for me.
I call them action steps, but actually they're not really action steps. They're like 1, 2, 3, where to get started. So energy. So you write down, and then you get to energy pools. Do you do them? How do you do? No,
I do energy pools every day or all the time. Like, but I've been practicing so much that I'll just start. I'll just go like and we're so quick, and that's something I never got. I was always like, I made myself wrong for so many things. I was always like, oh, I get bored so easily. So every time you get bored and you just quit stuff, just ask the question, hey, did I get all the information already? And it's like,
oh my God.
Oh, so you don't have to make yourself wrong for quitting stuff. Maybe you just got all the information. Ask a question. Then with energy pools, I was always like, I don't know how it works. I don't get it. Yeah, right. And then you're like, okay. And then some very wise people told me, hey,
very wise people. Now you're one of those. Now you're one of those very wise people. You know that. Okay,
it's
cool.
So funny, yeah. So it's like, are you already pulling? And then you go into your head and you look for how you do it. Like the moment I say something, you already do it. You're so incredibly phenomenal that you're so quick, but nobody tells us, right? We don't get like this handbook of, hey, you function like this. You're like, when I tell you, expand out, you already did. And then you go like, what is expanding out? How do I do that? And we always go into the how, but we don't need to do the how. We just need to start and do. Or like,
and that's something that we go into the how, but the only thing that we have to do is start. Like, like the car. It's always, I say, if you want your car to move, you will have to push the button. Now push the button. But there is a time where you had to turn the key inside. You had to be conscious about doing it. Now you can unconsciously start your car, but it's a different story. Yeah. And the thing is, what I wanted to go to is the speed to which we already have it. Yeah. And can you talk more about, as an artist, Are you creating with the speed of space, or I don't know about you, but I sometimes slow myself down to look at the things, analyze them, and then the speed is not there. And then I get bored, and then I forget to ask your question, hey, did I get all the information already? Or how do you do that?
That's a good question. How do I do that? I have no clue. But what I do is I ask questions. That's what I can say. It's like when you write down these ideas and you've got all the ideas and the projects in that book, then you go like, usually we go like, oh, I haven't done that. Oh, this is not working. Or but instead, if you just go every morning, just go flip through. It's like, which one needs my attention? Which project, which idea would need my contribution today, or which one would love to contribute to me? And then you go like, this one. Okay, cool. Let's play. What would be fun for me to do? And that's how I create art. It's like, what would be fun? And like some people pop into my mind. Like the other day, I was like, oh, I want to paint her. Usually I take the photographs of people and then I paint them. It's like many steps that I go through, and I talk to my paintings. So it's also asking questions.
Wait, you said something. You're talking to your painting.
Yeah.
So, okay, question. Do you... no, wait, not the good question. My thing would be, so it's like, are you in any way telling your creation what it should look like, or are you really allowing yourself that space of no control where it turns out? And did you make a promise not to judge it? Because I sometimes create stuff. It's very nice when I have it in my head, and when it comes on paper or in whatever, I start judging it.
What I learned is when I start judging it, I stop the energy. I stop the whole creation, and it's like it's what. For me, the where I got the energy of judgment the most was when I was translating. So I'm translating classes as you do. And the moment you judge yourself, you don't know a word, you don't know how to say, it's just gone. It's like cut and nothing goes.
Yeah.
You have to go out of judgment in a split second to go back into the flow of translating simultaneously. Right?
Yeah.
And it's the same process. You can just take it and apply it to everything else. Like the moment you start judging your partner, your child, your classes, the energy stops. And then you just have to go. And funnily enough, it's very quick just to change that as well, just to go into question of, okay, what would I need to change to create this? What would I need to change to, or what would I need to be different? So the energy flows again, or that it gets created as if by magic.
There's this thing when you said about translation, not only, it's like, you have this, I always look at cartoons, and you have the coyote, the coyote, the beep beep and the coyote.
Yeah.
And it's like, you're in full exchange and you're in full whatever action, and all of a sudden the coyote says something, or you start judging yourself. Is exactly that moment when the coyote gets projected against the mountain, and it does a and so. And have you noticed that the beep beep, I don't know what that animal is, but the one that does beep beep,
I know,
never ever gets hurt, as it's always like navigating whatever situation there is. And there's the one who doesn't want to change the point of view that gets smacked in the face.
so good. Yeah.
So it was just an intermezzo when you said it, like in translation, but that you stop. I literally had that. So thank you for that. And Augusta says, okay, wow, thank you for the example.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would like to take you a step further, and the step would go to, okay, you like to create, you have these tools, you have, I guess by now you kind of have your way, or it's a certain way, or changes. But how do you turn it into from a brilliant idea into an actualized reality, and further on into a business? Because at the end of the day, it's a business. You're selling these paintings, and you're not selling them for $2. They are really, pieces of value and of art. Like, they have intrinsic value, you put them on your wall, like it's there in your background, and you cannot do anything else but stare at them. So how did you do that, and what drives you to have it a business? Because from what I know, most artists stop at, oh, yeah, I like what I created, but I cannot turn it into a business. So what would be the third step?
Thank you. Thank you for that question, because I have to go back because so much changed since I started, and it's been a while. Like, I started painting like professionally in a way when Aziz was a baby, and the only person who would like give a class where I could take my baby with me was like a Cuban textile designer, and she was like, I'm giving this classes, and I did many arts classes before, but was bored after a lesson or two. And I was like, oh no, I can't be bothered. And with this one, she would just gave me material and was like, play. And I was like, really? No rules? And she was like, no, what would be fun for you? That was her question. What would be fun for you? And what would you love to paint? Like, what would you love to see? What would you love to hang on your walls? And I was like, oh, cool. So I started with material. Like, material is something I play with, so my art changes a lot, though I have always liked the outlines. That is something that goes with me because I love the outlines of people. I paint people.
Look in the back. I know who that person is.
Yes. It's so great. And every painting has got a story to it. Like, I will have that stories that I will tell. Like, when people come into my studio and they want to buy something or they want to look around, I'll just tell them all the stories of the paintings. And so how did it become a business? I started after, like, it was like this never giving up, never stopping, never quitting. Like, Aziz was a baby. I was a single mom. He was crying, hungry, like all that stuff. And I was having the paintings in my kitchen, and I still do. And I'll just like feed him and be like, something isn't right here. And I would just paint next to feeding my baby. And then
wow.
I, after the first year of classes, my mentor was like, hey, you could have an exhibition. And I was like, oh, really? And she was like, yeah, sure. You've got so many paintings now. So I did an exhibition and I sold, like I really sold art. People bought the art, and my prices weren't as they are today. Like, I grew into those prices as well, and I hope that it will grow further on. No, it will, like, I'm asking for that. But this is the thing, like, to ask for, okay, what is possible here? So I sold, and I was like, oh, people like what I do. So I just continued, had the second year another exhibition, the third year another exhibition, then the gallery closed. And I was like, okay, what can I do now? And then I asked in cafes and stuff where I could just like exhibit, because I couldn't be bothered to look for galleries. Like, I'm a single mom, and I had so many things in my head, like so many things to do that I didn't see, okay, how, like, to write to galleries, then to bring my paintings there. It was like so much work, and it in a way still is. That's why I have my studio and my own gallery. It's like a way of out creating the system.
Wait a minute. Isn't it what wise men do? You know, the wise men from the beginning? I would say this is quite pragmatic.
It is.
Right?
I am very pragmatic. Like, what I used to do was, like, I worked in a coffee where I was like a waitress, and my chef there, like, he was like, hey, there was a corner in the cellar rooms. Like, there was a corner where I could sell my paintings in wintertime. Like, during Christmas time, he would just offer me to use the cellar room and sell out from there. It was freezing cold. I was cold. I had a cold all the time, but I was standing there. And then I started doing prints of my works, because I knew nobody was going to, like, it wasn't like, the space to put all the paintings up. So I did like small prints on wood, and I did them myself. So I taught, and that's something I would just really recommend. Like, what else can you learn? What else can you educate yourself with? I keep on learning stuff all the time because I'm interested, and I want to change, and I want to create more. So I learned how to get the prints on wood, and then I would just sell them. And then I learned something else. I saw And I just get inspired by other people. I saw in Berlin on the markets, I saw like how a photographer put her photos of flowers and stuff into earrings. And I was like, hey, wouldn't that be cool? Like my wish when I was energy pulling, my wish was like, my vision was, wouldn't it be really amazing if people would walk around with my jewelry, like my paintings? It was my paintings. And then I saw the jewelry with the photos inside, and I was like, I could do that. I could just print out my paintings in small, put them into jewelry and sell them, and people would walk them, would like promote for me, and my paintings would be everywhere. So I started doing that and selling those at the markets, or or from home. I would just give them to friends and they would sell it on. It was like, so it's just, what else is possible? Just being in that question of what else could I create? What else could I do? Like a friend of mine always was like, oh, when I have the room, I will start painting. When I have that extra space, I will start. And I was like, just go for it. Just start. Just do it.
Yeah, and that's something that stops most of us. Like, we're looking for the right conditions to start something, and by the time, I always say that like creative ideas are kind of like horse. That's the delicate term. They will get to those people who are really willing to have them, possess them, and transform them into reality. So it's like, oh my God, I had this idea, and 2 days later, because I was thinking what would be the right conditions, somebody else pops it up, and you see it on Facebook, and you're like, no, they didn't. That vibration of your creative idea just tick, 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 went to that person who was willing to actualize it. But that's my, if you want my story. But what I wanted to ask you is, okay, in this thing of creating a business, and in this thing of actually asking money for your works, my question was there any moment when you said, this is not working, so I'm quitting? So, and what, if there was one, what brought you over it? And what was your go-to when, we all have brilliant ideas, but we also have gazillion reasons to stop. So what would take you over the threshold of, this is not working, I don't want to do it, this is not for me, blah, blah?
So I'll have like a really big dramatic moment once a year. And then I've got smaller ones.
Is it scheduled?
Huh? Yeah.
Is it scheduled?
My boyfriend always says so. My partner is like, hey, this is the once a year drama, I'm quitting, I can't do this anymore moment, isn't it? And I'm like, all right, thank you for that. It just comes. That's normal. It's like, what are you aware of around you in the world? Like, especially right now, I get like, I'm having sometimes really hard days where I'm like, oh my God. But then what I realized is like, when I just don't stop and I just go and create, like
you have Blue Mondays then?
Sometimes I do. Why not? Like everybody does. But what I realized is like, just to choose something different. Like I will get like all the tools I have out. Like last night I couldn't sleep. I don't know how many times I said, all of life comes to me with ease and joy and glory. Everything is but it's not what it appears to be. Like I'll just use them. I'll just do it. And then also it is like, I've had that with running, for example, as an example. There is this, I don't know, in German we say the innere Schweinehund. It's the inner pig dog. It's this really lazy being that keeps you back and holds you back from doing or creating or being ease. So, and to overcome that, you have to use tricks. So if I went for a run very for a year or two, like every 2-3 days, and it's like this inner Schweinehund wanted to keep me back. So what I did was like, I put my shoes there, I put my socks there, I put all the clothes there that I would need to go for a run, and I would go like, okay, only 5 minutes. Only 5 minutes, and then I'll go back. But when you start, you don't go back after 5 minutes, you just go for it. Same with painting. When I don't have an idea or an inspiration, I'll take a canvas and I just put one color on top, just one layer. And then it will hang there, maybe sometimes for a year. But then comes the point where you're like, oh, now.
Oh, wait, you hit the point. It's not because you have an idea that is necessarily now the time to actualize it. So what would you say about that? What would you say about that?
Again, back to the book, go through it, flip through it, and go like, okay, is it the time now to actualize you, or like later? Now or later? Now or later? And then like the ideas and projects will tell you, is it time now or later? Are you for now or are you for later? And then it's like, oh yeah, you're not for now. So how many ideas do we have? Like, for example, when I studied literature and anthropology, so I was becoming a writer. I never asked the question. I was like, I'm going to become a writer. And I traveled the whole world for 1.5 years and wrote books. I would, not real books, but like I would write down ideas and would just like look at people and what they do, how they do it, and would just write it down. And then I was always like talking about writing. I was always telling everybody that I was going to become a writer, but I never wrote something like that.
Like material, like writer material.
Yeah, because it was not the time, but I never asked like, hey, is it the time to write a book now? But all those projects are in my books, like they're still in there. I know what to like. They just get this, they get a shape slowly, but sometimes we're so in like we want everything to happen yesterday. Right?
That, and there's another thing that I would like to, so not only, okay, so all these ideas, it looks like the awareness is that we have, that we, when we have an idea, that we have to do something with it immediately. Well, maybe not, maybe. And then there's this thing of okay, so my question would be, do all ideas get actualized? Do you actualize all of them? Or because this is the question where I go to, okay, you ask questions every day. Where are you still going with your idea that you had in the past that maybe has shifted so many times? Is it still, does it still make you laugh? Does it still expand your world? Or was it something just popped back then and it changed?
Yeah. Like, yeah, why not? Why not? Like, why would you go into the judgment of, oh, I haven't done this, instead of, oh, this changed so much, it's not fun anymore for me. Right? It's but also to ask a question, hey, would this still be fun for me to create? Would this be still fun for me to actualize? And what like when I was in how do you call it? Kur. It's like when you're a single mom and you get like a vacation paid from your social insurance, where all the women go who are single moms, and they're like supported in this place where you can do yoga and sports and your children are looked after. So I went there and I had a psychotherapist there, and that was really cool, because she was like, okay, write down all the things you've done by now. And I had a huge list of all the things I've done, because humanoid as I am, I did like millions of jobs. And then the other day she was like, okay, now write down all the things you would love to do. Like a list with all the things you're like, oh my God, if I could do this, it would be amazing. If I could do this. And it was like I had like a huge list, and she was like, okay, and now pick one and actualize that. And I was like, why would I only actualize one of them?
Why only one of them?
It was so funny, but I found that list years later and looked at it, and I did like everything that was on the list. But that's something with lists. You don't have to. It's rather, would it be fun for you? Would it make you like, would it get you really excited? It's like champagne in your tummy. You go like, oh yeah, I want to do that. Then you go for it. If it isn't that way, if you're bored by your ideas, just don't do it, because then it's not yours.
You're bored by your ideas, don't do it because it's not yours. Meme. I just memed you.
That's my first meme. Thank you, Selena.
That's fun. So let's rewind a bit. So you said, write down your ideas. Then secondly, I don't remember what it was.
Ask
And thirdly,
questions.
ask questions.
Ask questions. Is it your time to be realized now? Which one needs my attention today? Which idea wants to play with me today? Just ask questions, playfully, not like, oh, this is serious. Now I have to ask all of my projects a question. It's rather like, how much fun can you have with all of your ideas? How much magic can you create in your world by just asking questions and being like, I wonder who wants to play with me?
And what's number 3?
And number 3 is start somewhere. It doesn't matter where, because everything you do or you create will give you an awareness of if it is fun for you, if it works for you, if it works for others. Like you can do like paintings and maybe it's just for you, right?
What do you mean?
Like maybe it's not for the world. Maybe it's just for you. Maybe it's just to get out your moods. Maybe it's just for you to have it in your house because you like it and it would love to contribute to you and your life. And like paintings contribute. They're like these entities that want to contribute. And
look at that one behind you, how it contributes like crazy. It's like I keep staring at it. It's absolutely gorgeous. You have actually put flowers in it. It's like
yes. And for example, that's a process that went on for, my God, I was like 18 when I was in Ibiza on an island on a festival, and I bought earrings, and in those earrings they were like eucalyptus capsules, and the guy put in tiny flowers and epoxy on top, and those earrings are the inspiration for all of my paintings right now. Just imagine, but wow. It was like 30 years ago. It just takes its time to unfold and just give it the time. So some projects are for later, some ideas are for now.
And as you said, we all want everything to be done yesterday, but sometimes it takes years for one spark of idea from there to be actualized now. Mehlika, thank you so much for this conversation. I know we can go on and on and on, as we normally do when we come together. But before we say goodbye, my question would be, okay, if anybody out there is inspired and would like to know more of you, you're also a certified facilitator of Joy of Business. So that's not for nothing that you have this ease and joy of, turning everything into a business. If anybody would like to contact you, where do we find you?
So actually it's www.mehlikatanriverdi.com.
Okay, your name.
My name.com, where you can find my classes, and www.tanriverdi, like my surname, .shop, where you can find my paintings.
Isn't that wise? I mean, I think that was the word of this interview, being wise. No, that's being pragmatic and being smart about stuff. Cool. And I assume people can see you on Facebook as well, right?
Yes, they do. Yeah, same. Great. Just take my name. Put me
say
in
my
there.
name. Say my name.
And they can find me on Instagram as well. When you just want to see what I create on Instagram, I will just share steps of how a painting is created or my latest works. You can do, yeah.
So that is actually the intimate view or intimate look into how a brilliant idea becomes actualized reality.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Whoa!
Nice.
Yay!
Thank you. You're so awesome. I love you.
Mehlika, I kiss you. I hug you. I so much wish we could hug ourselves soon. And for those who are watching, thank you so much. Those who will be watching, take notes. And how does it get any better than that? See you.
Thank you so much. See you.